Hello boys and girls, and welcome back to Art. This week we are creating a clay dragon. You can use salt dough, model magic, or Play-Doh to create your dragon. So I have a mat, I have a cup of water, and I have a plastic fork as well as a little skewer. You can also use a pencil. And what I'm doing to create my dragon is I took off one piece of my clay and put that to the side. And then with the other piece of clay, I rotated it in my hand and pressed so that I created this long column. And now I'm going to hold the mat with one hand and roll the coil or the piece of clay on the mat into a long cylinder called a coil. So I'm rolling back and forth. I want to make sure that the dragon's body is pretty thick. That way it can hold its shape. So we don't want to make it too thin as we're rolling it into our coil. You want to make sure that the clay is about the size of one hand plus your fingers from your other hand. One side of your dragon should be a little thinner than the other side for his tail. Now I'm going to pinch one part down and I'm going to pull it around to create the coil for the body of the dragon. That way it can stand up on its own. Pull it around, and then that last little bit. And sometimes you need to adjust as you go, and that's okay. That last little bit you're going to just have flat so that he can stand up and sit on a table. So there's two areas where we need to score, and that means scratching into the clay. I'm using a plastic fork to do that, and then adding a little bit of water to combine the pieces together so that they stay together and don't come apart. If you see any cracks occur from your clay, you can take a little bit of water on your finger and rub over those cracks. You only need a little bit of water, not very much, to rub over to make those cracks disappear. Now we're going to make the jaw or the mouth for our Chinese dragon. So I'm using my little skewer or my little stick, and I'm gently pressing between the clay to separate the pieces to create a nice mouth for my dragon. And I can pinch and adjust the clay so that it looks the way I want it to be. Next, I'm going to add spikes to the top of my dragon. I can either pinch the clay and pull and create little triangles that way, or I can add clay on by pinching the clay into a triangle and scoring into the clay with my fork, adding a little bit of water and attaching the clay that way. Pressing down firmly so that it attaches. So I can show you how to do that again. Pinch the clay with your fingers, press the end, and pinch, and make it a triangle. You are welcome to make a few different spikes at a time before attaching them all together at the same time. Make sure that as you're attaching each spike, you score by scratching into the clay and add a little bit of water so that it stays together. Also, rubbing the two pieces of clay together with your finger will allow them to stay on firmly. Next, we're going to make our dragon's feet. Our dragon needs 4 feet, so I am taking off a piece of clay, rolling it into a ball, and pressing down to create a little flat circle, and then I'm going to press that towards the table so that it's flat on one side. I score into the clay, add some water, and attach it firmly to the side. That way our dragon will nicely stand up. I have one foot on one side. I need to put another foot on the other side. Make a circle, flatten it, press against the table or your mat. Score into the clay, add your water, and press firmly to the other side of your dragon. If you don't press firmly, it might fall off. And then you can smooth the pieces together so it stays together. And now for the front 2 feet, roll it into a ball, press it flat, press one side flat to the table, score, add your water for your slip, press. And now we have one more foot to attach. Roll it into a ball, flatten to a circle, flatten one side, score into your clay, add a little bit of water, and press firmly. Now I'm using my little carving tool or my little stick. You can even use a pencil to add little claws or little lines to make it look like claws on my dragon. I can even use the little pointed part of my little stick to create eyes, and even use the back end to create little dots or draw into the clay to make little scales, however you want to decorate your dragon. Make it look interesting, make it look unique, and make sure that you do the same thing on the other side of your dragon. You can even add lines to the belly of your dragon. Next, we want to add some teeth and fangs and maybe even a tongue to the inside of our dragon's mouth. So I'm going to take a little piece of clay and create a little triangle. I already scored the clay, so I just need to add water and attach the little tooth to the top of the roof of his mouth. You can also do little fangs coming from the bottom of his mouth. It's up to you how many teeth you add to your dragon's mouth. Make sure you score the clay, you scratch into the clay and add water and attach very firmly for any materials or any objects that you add to your dragon. I can create kind of like a snake tongue by pressing into the center and splitting that piece into 2 pieces. Score the clay, add your water, and attach. Press firmly. Don't forget to add some nostrils to the front of your dragon's face. And if you want to make any more additions, any more spikes, or add wings to your dragon, you are welcome to do that as well. And there we have it, boys and girls. We created our clay dragon. The last thing that we need to do is write our name and our class code on the bottom of our dragon. Make sure that your name is able to be seen clearly. I hope that you enjoyed creating your clay dragon using a coil and adding clay pieces onto your dragon by scoring the clay and adding water called slip. I cannot wait to see how you create these, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much, boys and girls.